Hey, welcome to the Lucky Dink Pickleball Club. My name's Adam, and if you're my partner, I'm really sorry about the pop-ups. Today, the paddle that I'm going to review is from KiwiLabs. It's their 14mm circuit paddle. You can see it right here on my desk. But before we get to the review, I want to make sure you know I wasn't paid for this review. This paddle was sent to me simply to do this review and try out. And I think it's more important to let you know why I even chose to do the review of this paddle. That brings me to looking on YouTube and running into Larry with KiwiLabs and some of his videos. I really appreciated his transparency and his honesty when it came to his videos. He was telling us stuff that he didn't have to tell us. And as a business owner, probably didn't benefit him in any way. I feel like especially nowadays, this is something you don't see or hear about in businesses. And I really, really appreciate that honesty and that transparency that Larry has shown us in his videos. Well, I reached out to Larry saying, look, I'd be more than happy to do this review for you because I believe in you and I want you to succeed in whatever that means to you. And so the paddle came in. I've been playing with this paddle for a while now, but yeah, here it is. This is the 14mm. It's thermoformed. They say the average weight is 7.8, but it's interesting because KiwiLabs is saying that the slice, which is their slightly wider, heavier paddle, is 7.8 to 8.4. And this is definitely lighter than the slice. So I would say that the slice is probably on that 8.4 side if this is truly 7.8, because this is light. I mean, this thing, you're not gonna have any problems with flicks. And I do think it's pretty well balanced. So something I think that benefits this paddle is because of its weight, I think people can really tune this in to exactly what they want. However, if you watched Larry's video, he talked about it having a break-in period, and it does have a break-in period. So when I got it, I tried to get ahead of that break-in period and drilled on the wall, just hitting it outside and stuff like that. And I went out one week and was telling a guy, you know, it's been a while. I don't know if I've gotten through this break-in period yet. I'm really struggling to dial it in. But then all of a sudden that night, I played some of the best games I ever had with this paddle, and kind of ever. I felt like I was on, and it was just giving me what I needed. Honestly, after playing with it for a while, I got some gameplay footage I'll show you here. It delivers dinks. It delivers power on serves and returns. You could definitely get drives. It has plenty of spin, at least to me. Again, I'm not out there testing it with, you know, slow motion or, you know, painting a ball to see how many times it spins. Look, you'll see in the gameplay footage that there are times where things happen and it's not the paddle, it's just me, right? But again, I'm that mid-3 player still trying to work on consistency. Now, the paddle does give you consistency and you can learn what it's doing. It has a little bit of a pop to it. So for me, there was still this struggle with like punch volleys and reactive shots, as I would say, where I'm overreacting and now the pop is going to punish me. I think that's where a more skilled player dials that in and they don't have that, right? I'm still very reactive on the court and probably overswing and overhit when I'm caught off guard or I'm just not quite there. And so this kind of punishes me a little bit with some pop. So who is this paddle for? So on the website, when you go to this paddles page, it does suggest that it's probably 3.5 and above. And I would completely agree with that. This paddle is definitely gonna be a learning curve for beginners. And I do think that people that are 3.5 and above will be able to jump into this a lot quicker and be able to control this a lot quicker. I wanna see what other people think of this paddle. So I'm about to show you some gameplay footage of Quentin. He's probably one of the better players that we play with out there. He played D1 tennis and it shows when he's playing. So check out his gameplay footage here and see what he thinks of it.
So normally I play with the Eula Hyperion. It's the Ben Johns paddle. To me, the circuit, it felt like it had a little bit more pop off of it. Normally when I'm playing with my paddle, I feel like it's a little bit dampened a lot of the shots. This one, it felt like everything was popping off of my paddle face. But at the same time, it stayed pretty controllable. I never felt like it was just popping off and it was going off into nowhere. I think it's because it has some pretty good grip on it. So when I swing, I do a good bit of topspin. So I was able to keep it under control, but it definitely felt like it was a little bit more poppy off the face of the paddle. Overall though, I thought it's a solid paddle. The grip for me on this one, I like to play, I've come from the tennis world, so I like to play with two hands on my backhand side. And for me, it's got more than enough extra length on the grip to be able to take a big swing at it. So for me, that worked out really well. The face is pretty light and it's pretty balanced paddle. So at the net, I was able to react pretty quickly. I didn't feel like it was too head heavy in any way, and that I was able to get the face where I needed it to be on those quick volleys. So overall, pretty good rating.
So let's move on to my colleague Amanda. She comes from a tennis background as well. She's been playing pickleball for a while, and she's, again, probably one of the better players that we play with on a regular basis. You can see in her game, she has an amazing serve and a killer drive, which I think this paddle will suit her perfect.
Hey, I just played a game with the circuit paddle, and I typically play with the Yola Hyperion, and I honestly did not notice that drastic of a difference other than the weight of the paddle. This one's definitely a little bit lighter, but it did not impact my play at all, and typically that is an excuse for why people lose out on a pickleball court, but I just won 2 games with this paddle. I'd highly recommend it. The grip is so comfortable. Again, the weight is great whether you're a beginner, a medium range player, or an advanced player. I would recommend it to all of those levels. It really just boils down to what your comfort level is. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10 and would highly recommend that you try it too.
All right, so I hope you find Amanda and Quentin's perspective on this paddle helpful, and it wasn't just me talking about it. But yeah, that is the KiwiLabs 14mm circuit. I think that this offers an amazing building block for those 3.5 and above players that want something that they can continue to rely on and know they can go and just get this, and this is their workhorse. I still think that I personally prefer the Slice and its forgiveness, again, where I am in my play style. But it is one of those things where I think I have a preference, but I also am not ready to give this up yet because I really enjoyed playing with it. But I hope you found this review helpful, and I hope that you find the paddle that works for you. And I hope that you don't fall down the rabbit hole of just trying every paddle and looking and obsessing about technology and paddles and all this stuff. Really just find the paddle that works for you and enjoy the game. Until next time, take care.